Hello, and welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at my Shadow Machamp in the Open Master League. This Pokemon has access to the buffed fast move of Karate Chop and also Stone Edge, which makes it an interesting Pokemon for this meta, especially as it can core break a lot of the current cores they are running around with the Rhyperior plus Yveltal core, which is quite common. This Pokemon here is going to be able to punch through them. As you can see already in the first battle, we're going to have a Mamoswine in the lead, we're going to have the Yveltal coming in here, but a one Stone Edge and a few Force Moves are enough to knock them out. And you might think, oh, that's like cope, basically, that Machamp has any play or whatever. Honestly, this Pokemon was really good. I would really recommend you to invest in this, and I did not expect it at all. It's not me like trying to sell you something that didn't actually work for me. Like, I can actually check real quick still, I think, on my phone on how that went for me. I definitely forfeited one battle immediately because I forgot to give the Pokemon the new moves. That was great on me, but like this team really was good for me. I went a total of 10-4 with this team, which is ridiculously good. So yeah, for sure, a team that I would recommend you to go for. And maybe some of the battles I could have most likely played a bit better as well still, because it's first battles with this team. But yeah, like I'm at 2500 elo range. This team kind of got me, I think, maybe even on the leaderboard to this point. And that is quite ridiculous for Shadow Machamp. And like honestly, this Pokemon was so good for the current meta. Really recommend you as you can win the first battle here. Next opponent coming through, we have a Horrible Elite, and there are of course going to be some core breakers for this team. Giratina is one of them. Giratina is going to be very difficult for Elite to deal with, but as you can see already, I used to do the shield and the opponent is going to be quite low in terms of the health, already low enough that most likely a Stone Edge or a Brave Bird is going to be enough to knock them out. And then you decided to go into Primarina, but it's going to be the Waterfall variant, and this is kind of one important thing about this team as well. Primarina looks on paper like a definitely difficult Pokemon to deal with, but a lot of people are running this Pokemon currently as a Say-Swap. I actually analyzed the meta before that as well and tried to build a different team, which then the complete meta kind of shifted. But what I definitely saw is that a lot of people had Primarina as a Say-Swap, but if they use Primarina with a Waterfall, Dialga has a great time against it. If they're going to run Primarina with Charm, Ho-Oh has a great time against it. So no matter what Primarina Say-Swap they want to use, we have an answer for this Pokemon in our team, which is going to be great. And so definitely something that we can deal with. Definitely a very solid team here in general, as you have Elite that is going to be weak to Fairy-type Pokemon. We have a Say-Swap that can even bait out Fairy-type Pokemon in Dialga. And then we're going to have in the back the best answer for Fairy-type Pokemon, which is the Ho-Oh, which you see here as well against the Xerneas. They have zero play here. We are going to be able to go for that Sacred Fire and win that battle quite easily, as they of course let the move go through, as I know they had no chance. So, Tapu Bulu, what are we going to do here against this Pokemon? I decided to always go for 6 Fast Moves and then swap out into my Dialga, catching the Nature's Madness. It is not an ideal play, don't get me wrong. Nature's Madness is still going to chunk. Nature's Madness, of course, going to drop our defense, especially as they're going to swap out now into the Rhyperior. It's not going to be ideal. But it is still okay. We're gonna see here they're gonna go for Breaking Side, which is good for us. They didn't have to do this, I think. I think they would have been able to knock me out in time. But that's going to be great for us, because nobody can go into the Machamp. We can go ahead and go for one big charge move here, Cross Chop coming through, and we can go for another Cross Chop right afterwards. And as they already have their Water type answer there, they might have another Rock type Pokemon in the back. But no, it's going to be the Yveltal. That's very similar to a team I think that I showcased, and you see already, by the way, Incinerate is so bugged right now. This move is basically always copied from the opponent, so they have a 2-turn Incinerate against me the entire time, which is ridiculous. But also, I was really unlucky with the debuffs that I got from Sacred Fire. You saw already there, I didn't get the debuff. And yeah, generally speaking, I barely got the debuff from it. It's 50% chance, and I feel like I kind of got a bit screwed over from it. As you're gonna see here, we have actually a debuff, which is cool, but there were definitely a lot of battles where I just would have really liked the debuff, I'd say. But yeah, anyway, we're gonna see here the opponent going for charge move. We're gonna be still fine here as the Dark Pulse is coming through. We can see the swap out now into the Tapu Bulu, and as you can reach the Sacred Fire, we are not dropping our defense, and we should be able to at least fully farm on the Yveltal now. 2 Fast Moves is all it needs, and we win with a 1 HP in a dream here, and we can move on to the next opponent. Oh, look at this horrible Elite Force Zacian there in the lead. That is not going to be ideal for us at all. But we can swap out into our Dialga. We try to keep some energy on our other Pokemon there, on our Machamp, and so that definitely going to help us out hopefully later on. The Stone Edge is always kind of nice to have. Stone Edge really helps in low scenarios. So as you're gonna see here, we're gonna try our best to go for an Iron Head against the opponent's Zacian. This is going to be kind of nice for us anyway, as it's gonna get blocked. And we're gonna try our best to go for another charge move afterwards as well. Here as the opponent decides to go ahead and go for our play rough, we're gonna try to keep alignment. Alignment can be kind of key for this team here as well. Iron Head is going to be able to knock out the opponent's Zacian here, and we can see what they're going to go back into, and it's going to be actually the Necrozma. And here you see already alignment is key. Fighting type moves would be double resisted, or actually triple resisted from the Necrozma, and so we're going to be able to get the shield here, which is great. We can swap out into the Ho-Oh, and we have hopefully an okay time here. Here's the thing, we should definitely be able to survive one Moongeist Beam, but if they can go for a Dark Pulse as well still, we are kind of screwed, but they didn't, and so this is going to be the knockout, but we still have to hope that Machamp can win the battle. Let's see what they have in the back. It is going to be the Zarude. I had, by the way, a ton of lag, which you see here as well, of like frame drops the entire time, which was really annoying and really kind of bothered me. But yeah, I'm going to be at the tournament soon as well, so hopefully it's going to be better, but it also doesn't really make me want to prepare for it, to be fair. Next opponent, we're going to have Zacian again in the lead, horrible lead force. We swap out into our Dialga and get greeted by the Landorus. And this can happen, and this is definitely the worst possible Pokemon to encounter for this team, but it's also most likely one of the reasons why this team really works now is that this Pokemon is not as common anymore. Landorus got dropped from a lot of people. I still think it's not rightfully dropped. I think it's a very good Pokemon still. I think it's very much underrated, but I'm definitely kind of happy that it got dropped for like the sake of the Master League itself. It was definitely a very tricky Pokemon to deal with. But not only this, we're also gonna see here now the Yveltal coming in from the opponent. This is going to be again a bit of a trickier one, and we kind of were forced to go for a bait here even before we get to a charge move, which at least worked out here, but we're still not in a great spot. We still have that Fairy type there in the lead that we still have to deal with somehow, and so maybe I didn't really play this perfectly either. I honestly have to say I kind of forgot that they had a Zacian, they're still lurking, and I was hoping I would be able to outspeed them here, which I am not able to do so. They should be out of energy now, so I can overfarm by a bit, but Zacian with apparently Incinerate here has also access to Wild Charge, and so that is going to be a bit tough. Of course, again, no debuff. We had to kind of try to catch a move here, which again did not work out, and so yeah, that is basically it for this one. I don't think there was anything I could have done. Or actually, maybe there would have been. Maybe if I just stayed in, I would have been a bit in a better spot. Maybe if I could have Dragon Breathed them down, that would have helped me, but it is what it is. And we have the next horrible lead right afterwards. I already talked about what we can do here against the Tapu Bulu. Letting 6 fast moves go through and then just swapping out is the best way to play this, in my opinion. They're gonna go out into the Rhyperior, and this Rhyperior is a bit smarter as they can go for the full farm before I get to a charge move. This is going to be a bit of a trickier matchup. So, we're gonna let the move go through. It's luckily the superpower. Why is it so luckily the superpower? Because now one cross chop should be enough to knock them out. We saw before already the damage output from our Machamp against Rhyperior, and just not enough to knock them out straight away. But as you're gonna see here, we're gonna be able to go up against the Tapu Bulu, but not only this, they're also gonna reveal their final Pokemon. And at this point as well, I kind of forgot that we had the cross chop still stored on our Machamp, which is definitely a good thing for us. Again, we don't get a debuff from Sacred Fire, which will have been, again, very nice for us. I think we're currently at like 1 out of 5. Power Gem is coming through. We can go for a Brave Bird now because it's cheaper, and I kind of need to get at least 2 more hits against the opponent anyway. They're of course going to use a shield. I'm going to try to get the next one as well. And now I can try to swap out, and I think I did still have the cross chop there as well, so I tried to snipe them with that move. Didn't work out at all, but this is still okay for me. I still have a shield, and I'm going to be able to use this Pokemon perfectly here to get a ton of energy. And there's no way the opponent has 2 Rock Slides or Power Gems stored on their Nihilego, and so they're going to be in a very tough spot here, as we are going to be able to go ahead and go for that big Brave Bird to nuke away that whatever jellyfish, I guess it is. So let's move on to the next opponent. We're going to have another Yveltal here. Yveltal is going to be a Pokemon that we should be able to outspeed, I think. I think we're always outspeeding this Pokemon, which is very important as well. And so I definitely like this one quite a bit here, this matchup. We're going to see the opponent go ahead and go for the Oblivion Ring. We should always outspeed them, but we can also kind of bait them a bit, because I feel like they kind of want to get rid of my Machamp. They're most likely a bit weak to Machamp here. And so what we decided to do here as well is just going to go ahead, go for another shield, see what the opponent tries to do here. Oblivion Ring, that's totally fine. And we can keep our Machamp while also overfarming by quite a bit here, knocking out the opponent's Evoltal guaranteed with that Stone Edge, and let's see what they're going to have in the back. It's going to be the Xerneas, and I decided to keep my Pokemon there again. As said before, I think they're going to be quite weak against me there in the back, and if they're going to go for close combat here, I would be able to knock them out with one Iron Head, which they do, and we will see as well that the opponent has the Rhyperior in the back. I'd rather go for the Raw of Time, which I think does a bit more damage here, but I'm not too sure about it with the type effectiveness. Of course, Iron Head is going to be super effective, but at the end of the day, it just one-shot them and we can win the battle. Ho-Oh in the lead. How is this matchup? You actually, I think, are always going to be able to win this one. But as I decided to swap out into the Zacian, I decided to go up to one Stone Edge, which might help me out for a later matchup against the Ho-Oh. And so, at least we have like the potential nuke for that later on. And as I decided to reveal that they have Wild Charge, we're going to be a bit in a tough spot here, I would say, because they have the option to get both of my shields. But if I get both of the opponent's shields as well, this would be totally okay for me. I decided to go for my own shield here as well. Going to be a Wild Charge, and they decided to go for the back-to-back move. And here at this point, I'm actually quite happy. I can let the move go through. I am going to be able to go ahead and go into my Dialga again and get a ton of energy. And I even tried to swap out here, go straight for the Stone Edge on the Machamp, and I will get the one-shot against the Ho-Oh, which is ridiculous, as now it's down to Double Bulo against us. And you might think, oh, why is he overfarming so much? I was expecting to use a shield on this Pokemon, because this is gonna allow us to go for 2 Stone Edges here, and that is gonna be game. Nothing the opponent can do about it. Look at the damage output now as well from the Shadow Machamp. It is ridiculous still how good this Pokemon is now. And I love it. Honestly, I love it. I think it's cool that we finally have a fighting type here that really can do something in the Master League, and that is very refreshing for me. Let's see if the next opponent's team is a bit refreshing as well. We have a horrible lead here, like that is kind of, again, the worst possible lead, and it looks like it is going to be Giratina Double Charm, so it is not something I like to battle. Like, honestly, yeah, of course, a Double Charm team is going to be a bit tricky with Giratina in the lead for a fighting type Pokemon. So basically, what we are doing here is we're battling with one less Pokemon than the opponent, and that is quite difficult, I'd say. Anyway, we're gonna be able to use a shield here, of course, against the Hydro Cannon now, which is very important, but we're gonna get up a ton of energy, and I feel like the energy is a bit more important here than anything else, and my only hope is that I am able to maybe find something in the back like a Xerneas. Xerneas would make a lot of sense. I just hope it's not a Charmer, and it is a Charmer. So like there would be a Zacian and Xerneas as non-Charm Fairy type Pokemon that could have been there, or the Florges. But no, we sadly have kind of the worst matchup here. Stone's still going to come through, but somehow the opponent's still going to be able to go for that ancient power here, and this kind of completely kills my game plan. I was hoping that they wouldn't be able to reach it in time. If they would have not, I think I still would have lost. Unless I would have got the debuff here on the Sacred Fire, then I would have been able to win the battle, but it is what it is. Very close battle for being a Double Charm team against me. Next opponent, we're going to see here, oh, by the way, you wonder maybe why I stayed in for so long. It was just lag reason, like you see the lag here even still at sped up gameplay, which is quite ridiculous. Like the frame drops in this battle was ridiculous against me. But we see some more Charm users, that's kind of great. But again, as said before, depending on what fast move the opponent's Primarina are going to have, we can play it a bit differently. Like again, if it's Charm, you go into Ho-Oh. If it's Waterfall, you're going to go into Dialga. You always have an answer basically for it. Again, we don't get a debuff here even on the next Sacred Fire. And yes, I definitely didn't just have it in my head there that I had crazy unlucky matchups with this one. I think I'm now at 7 or something with like 1 debuff, which is just ridiculous. And really, of course, impacts the game, I guess. But still, we went 10-4 with this team, so what can we complain about? And we're gonna see here in the back the Togekiss. Still, this game is not over because Rhyperior is quite ridiculous, especially with a shield advantage, but luckily the shield advantage is not going to stay for too long because the opponent decides to go ahead and go for a shield here. We get the debuff finally, so like 2 or something out of 8, that's great, but if you're going to be able to go for the Brave Bird, knock out the Togekiss, and now it's down to Dialga against Rhyperior. They have Breaking Swipe. If they get a debuff here straight away, that might be tricky, and they do, and yeah, like that is a bit of an annoying thing there, because now they can go for another one. Can they get another debuff? They do not, and so we can go for even a charge move here to win the battle, and this is going to be a very good game. And again, Machamp did a lot this battle. Next opponent, Kyogre in the lead, and you might think, oh, that is so bad for you, Machamp has no chance against this thing. You're sure about that? We're gonna be able to go for one cross chop here and do quite some solid damage. And that's not only it, we can also go for another cross chop here. And I was very confused where the opponent get to the move here, which they should have not been able to. I think you should be able to go for 2 cross chops before they can get to their first charge move. But apparently, like, the game just doesn't really like Machamp or like me today and just lagged all the way. But they made a crucial mistake here by going to Xerneas. Xerneas is the basically same as free energy on a Ho-Oh because they have nothing to damage you, like literally nothing. And they decided to go ahead and go for the Moonblast here, have fun with that. I am going to be able to just go up to 100 energy, go for the Sacred Fire. I tried to undercharge, never mind, I didn't try to undercharge. Maybe I could have uncharged if I wanted to, but I didn't. And I'm now gonna have the matchup against, of course, the Kyogre here. We're gonna be able to go for the Brave Bird straight away, which is the beauty of overfarming to 100 energy. And so we're gonna be in a great spot to now swap out into the Dialga. We have a shield advantage. The opponent wastes all their energy on their Dialga now, and the Kyogre now against our Dialga, which doesn't make any sense. They have their own Dialga in the back, and so we are in a great spot here now because we are going to be able to. I wouldn't even be able to use the shield and just farm on the Kyogre, but I rather decide to go ahead and let the move go through, go for the Raw of Time, knock out the opponent's Dialga, and I'm still going to have enough health here to get them very low with the Kyogre, and just one more Incinerate is all it takes. And so, this is going to be it for this video. Again, I went 10-4 with this team, which is ridiculous as well. Very cool team. Machamp is a lot of fun, and yeah, hopefully you enjoyed this one. If you did, feel free to leave a like, and I'll see you then. Bye bye.